In this lecture, I'm going to provide an overview of the course CUE 1001. We will look at the course content and we'll look at the key readings you'll be using and videos you will have as course materials. So the course is having 4 main sections to it. In the first section, we'll be looking at the framework of the creative economy and the ontology for it. In the second section, we'll look at comparing creative economies of 2 different countries to get a closer feel for how creative economies manifest in reality, in practice. And then we'll focus a lot on the world of practice and how creative economies, what are the strategies different countries use, different places use to foster creative economy. And finally, most important will be the section where you get a chance to live in the moment and experience the creative economy, even if it is partially. So those are the 4 sections, and I will briefly introduce you to each section here. So in the first section of this class, our goal is to really understand what the creative economy is all about, why is it important now, what are the underpinnings of the creative economy, key components, constituents of the creative economy, and how is it different than other parts of the economy. Finally, why is it important and why now? So we really want to understand those concepts here. And the key underpinnings, we will begin with human values discussion using Schwartz framework. We'll also look at the connection between human values to cultures, to reproduction of cultures, and hence the creative economy. And a key reading over here is Walter Benjamin's article on mechanical reproduction of art and culture in the broader sense. But to bring it all together in terms of framework, we will look at United Nations, a report that was put out by United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. And we'll also look at the second underpinning of the creative economy, which is creativity. And you will be watching a video by Professor Tina Seelig in this section. So that's the first, which sort of introduces us to the framework. In the second section, having known sort of some frameworks of what creative economy is about, what we will do is we will look at how creative economy can be seen in the United States, and we'll look at China. So 2 very different countries in many regards in terms of history, culture, as well as democracies that we have, the geopolitical and social environments. And we will try and understand how creative economies are manifesting themselves in these 2 countries, and then we'll have a comparative analysis to get us a deeper understanding of creative economies and how they play out over time, and what are the differences in the underpinnings in different countries and contexts. For this, we will look at the report on creative economy of North Americas in general, but we'll focus on United States particularly, and a report on creative economy of China that was put out by Martin Prosperity Institute. And we are talking about industrialized countries versus developing countries. So if time permits, I will encourage you to look at the creative economy video for Europe. So that's section 2 here. Section 3 really brings it down to more practice in terms of strategies that are used to manifest and support creative economy and economic development of whether it's region or state or nations worldwide. So we'll look at some of those strategies, and here we'll particularly look at the role of entrepreneurship in the creative economy. We'll try and understand whether entrepreneurship in the creative economy is different than other forms of entrepreneurship, such as social entrepreneurship, commercial entrepreneurship, and the whole notion of entrepreneurship in the purpose economy. So we'll kind of get a feel for the role of entrepreneurship. We'll also look at strategies such as creative placemaking, which has come about for industrialized countries, but then in developing country context, we are seeing alternative strategies like having special economic zones and we'll sort of look at these different approaches and establish a deeper understanding of how this pans out in the world of practice. A bit closer look for the entrepreneurship side, we will focus on a reading by a cultural entrepreneur himself. He's written an article, Tom Agason, and then we'll look at a TED talk by another cultural entrepreneur, Joanna Taft. So that will form the basis of our discussion here. In the second strategy, which is on creative placemaking, we'll look at a report that was put out by two scholars, Markussen and Gardwa, and we'll look at some examples of where creative placemaking has really helped revitalize and create post-industrial economy by looking at the Isenruhr revitalization in Western Germany. And for the third section on the strategy pertaining to special economic zone, we'll look at particularly China and the promotion of cultural industries using policies around special economic zone. So those are the three strategies we'll look at here. And the last section is really pertaining to your own experience on trying to be a part of the creative economy. So how does that happen? We want you to, in this course, experience what does it mean to look at cultural issues, creative issues, social issues, and how does one think about creative ideas which form the basis of the creative economy. We also want you to experience what does it mean to work in a deep cultural, cross-cultural context, which is really at the heart of the creative economy. So the way this happens is through a group project. You will be teamed in groups of probably 3 or 4. If there is a course where you will be working on individual projects versus team projects, I will let you know that elsewhere in the course material. But in this project, what you will do is you'll be assigned a sector within the creative industries, and you will choose an issue or an opportunity in this space, and you'll do a deep sort of situation analysis to get a good understanding of how does this problem sort of manifest, why does it exist, what are the factors that influence, and then you'll go through some tools in the class to really come up with creative ideas that are sort of out there. They're not the normal ideas that come to your mind and are most obvious ones. So you'll do that, and you'll turn that idea into an enterprise idea that will be self-sustaining and have the potential to sort of produce cultural change in some form, or preserve cultures in some form. So most often you'll also have the opportunity to present your idea to community leaders and stakeholders to really get a feedback and say, does it make sense for the real world or not? So what my students tell me is that's sort of the most fascinating part of the class, and I hope you all will also have an opportunity to engage in it. So that's sort of the fourth component here, where you are getting a mini experience of what it means to be a part of the creative economy. So all this can seem very overwhelming because the topic is new. Creative economy concepts are very, very new. So don't worry about it. What I really want to do is for you all to have fun in this class as we go forward. Thank you.